Hello. So today I decided to take a break from, uh, I guess, just the regular kind of stuff that I've been doing. Pretty much, it feels like my workouts over the past 2-3 weeks, maybe longer, has been like pretty intense and full steam ahead almost. And as a result of which, I don't feel like it's been multiple days where I don't feel like 100% recovered. And so today I decided to take it a little easy and went on a 2 mile walk out and then a 2 mile run back. Then went home, drank some tea, and had a banana. And now I've decided to do like a 45-minute to an hour long weight training workout, but unlike my usual workouts, it's not going to be supersets or anything. It's just going to be forearms and abs. And I'm going to use the steel mace and kettlebell in order to do that. Yeah, just going to share some stuff that I do for forearms with the steel mace and some ab exercises that I do with both the kettlebell and the steel mace. So for the first exercise, gonna do wrist rotations. So the forearm, or the muscles in the forearm, have a few functions. So one of them is man, there used to be a time when I used to know the names of all this. So this is wrist flexion. Then I guess this is wrist extension. Then I forget which side is dorsiflexion and the other one. And then there is wrist rotation clockwise and wrist rotation anti-clockwise. Yeah. So the first thing that I'm going to work on is wrist rotation. So I'm going to hold the steel mace in an underhand grip and then rotate it to one side and then rotate it back the other way. The further away from the head of the steel mace you hold it, it's going to be harder on the forearms. So you don't need a whole lot of weight to do this. You can also use a long stick. Training the forearms and making sure they're good and strong translates to stronger lifts overall. So having good grip strength translates to better pull-ups, just better anything that requires holding a weight. I'm going for 10 reps each way. So here you're training the pronation and supination of the forearms, which pretty much is turning your wrist clockwise and anti-clockwise. gonna do this for 5 sets, and then on to the next forearm movement. Instead of trying to use anatomical terminology to explain what I'm doing, I'm just going to use really simple language. So, previously I did wrist rotations, and so now I'm going to do side or lateral flexions. So, as mentioned before, the forearm can bend this way, which is flexion. Then I think this is dorsiflexion, or I don't think it's called wrist extension. But I could be wrong about all this. But there is flexion, and then there is, I guess, the opposite of that, reverse flexion. So I think that's called dorsiflexion. Then there's also sideways. So the wrist can move this way, so side flexion or lateral flexion. But I don't think that's the terminology, but whatever. That's why I said I'm not going to use that, but whatever. So, right now I'm going to train the muscles on this side of the forearm. So, I'm going to hold the steel mace such that the weight is that way, ahead of me, and then hold it to the side and bend. So I feel the contraction right in this muscle over here. I think it's kind of clear. If you don't have a steel mace, again, you can use a stick or anything that's kind of long and hold it at the end, and then do this movement. After 12 reps of that, which is around when I'm hitting failure or close to failure, I'm going to switch where the head of the steel mace is. So now it's behind me. So that will cause the steel mace to want to fall backwards, and now I'm going to use the muscles on the opposite side of the forearm to bring it up. So it looks like this. And then going to repeat this on the other arm. Having strong forearms helps with good wrist and elbow joint health. So, yeah, definitely spend some time training forearms each week. And similar to the previous movement, if play around with how far away from the head of the steel mace you hold the weight in order to increase or decrease the resistance. You don't necessarily need a separate steel mace to accomplish heavier resistance. Gonna do this back to back for 5 sets on each arm, and then on to the next forearm exercise. So earlier I had mentioned the different functions of the forearm. The one that seems to get used the most at the gym is wrist flexion, or just the wrist curl position. So anytime you're grabbing, holding on to something, those muscles get activated. In a pull-up, when you're holding the bar, that muscle gets activated. If you're holding dumbbells for a dumbbell curl, that muscle gets activated. However, what ends up getting underused or undertrained is the wrist rotation, the lateral flexions, and reverse. So far the previous 2 exercises have taken care of the sideways flexion and the wrist rotation. So for the next movement, the final forearm movement, I'm going to focus on reverse wrist curls with the kettlebell to target those muscles. Those muscles run on the back side of the arm or back side of the forearm, and the movement looks like this. I'm going to hold the kettlebell handle with the tips of my, or nearly at the fingertips, and so I'm kind of suspending it and letting it rest to give a full stretch of the forearm muscles, and then reverse curl. So yeah, pretty much going till I couldn't do anymore, and similar to the previous exercises, going to do 5 sets, and then that's probably going to be it for forearms, and then move to abs after. So for abs, I'm going to start off with kettlebell movement. So I'm going to do a side bend to a standing march for 4 reps of 4 marches, and then back to a side bend. Do that for 10 on each side. Looks like this. So holding the kettlebell to one side, while holding the kettlebell, I'm going to do 4 marches, a side bend, 4 marches. With the side bend, I'm trying to get full range of motion. Really working on the lateral flexibility of the spine, targeting the obliques and the quadratus lumborum. the marching movement targets the hip flexor and the lower abs. I think that might have been 9 or 8. 10 seems like too much. I thought 10 would feel easier. But yeah, the next side. It's a nice day today. Even though the sun's not out, the temperature is nice. It's kind of cloudy, but not rainy. Not chilly, but cool. Feels really nice being outside right now. However, there are mosquitoes. Yeah, I hate mosquitoes. Another aspect of this movement is the fact that I'm holding the kettlebell on one side forces muscles in the core to stay activated like the entire duration of the movement, so that to maintain the balance. So if they weren't activated, I'd just automatically bend to the side. But the muscles on the opposite side of the core have to stay activated in order to maintain center of balance. Yeah, I'm gonna do 3 to 5 sets of that till that system feels exhausted. Then going to move into a steel mace based ab movement. Yeah, so that's what's up next. Thought it might be interesting to see the abs working during the kettlebell movement, so just recording a few reps of that. So yeah, that's what that looks like. Ending off the workout with this movement that I came up with for abs with the steel mace. So let me try to describe it. I'm going to hold the steel mace in alternate grip, or mixed grip, sorry. Keep my legs off the floor. Push the steel mace out. Come back in. Switch. Switch. Gonna hit failure with that. Then going to finish it off with some flutter kicks. Gonna repeat that for 3 sets, and that'll be it for the workout. And that's all for today's video. Try these movements out. Let me know what you think in the comments. See you all tomorrow.